Hey, welcome back to the shade tree where the past couple of weeks we've been pounding away on this thing, doing a lot of metal work. We got our floor pans in, we got our fender extensions built, started working on the hood last time. We got the brace out, we got it straightened out. We got to go ahead and tack weld it back onto the hood. And we have a lot of work to do on this hood, as you can see. There's a lot of welding and dent straightening and whatnot. That's what we'll be tackling this time around, is the hood, finishing that up. We really have to get after this interior. I want to get this all wire wheeled down, get it rust reformed. Then we're going to slowly work our way back to this mess here till we finally end up with this monstrosity back here. If you think this is bad, this is the tailgate, fellas. We have to try to rebuild that. Yes, I said rebuild that. That's going to be a huge undertaking for me. I think it would be for anybody, but especially for me. We're going to do the best we can with it and slowly get this thing back together. I'm shooting for an August finish date. That's pretty aggressive, actually. Looking at all that we have to do here, I think it can be done. If I can devote a lot more time than I have been to it, we might be able to get it done by August. But so interior this time around, hood this time around, finishing up the passenger side fender extension, then start working our way back to the body work on this side. We're going to have to figure out what we're going to do for a gas tank here yet. So there's no shortage of things to do this time around. Let's see how much we can get done. Alright, let's get this party started by getting this hood spot welded back together. Last time we got the brace straightened out and got it cleaned up, threw some rust reformer on it, and now we're going to go ahead and spot weld that brace back in. We're going to weld up some of these holes that are in it and see if we can't pound out some of the dents. Okay, we got the brace welded into the hood, and I thought, let's see if this thing's going to fit on here before we do too much work, then have to go and undo it all. It fits okay. I do not think this thing's going to be perfect, but I think once we get it hinged, kind of looks like we got to bend this out a little bit maybe. But as you can see, I scuffed it down and you can better see the areas. There's a dent there, there's a dent there, there's a dent there, there's a huge dent here and here, and of course this whole area has got to get worked on both sides. Holes got to get filled here and here, and again on the other side. So we'll be working on this hood for a little while, I think. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to try to get it perfect because it's not going to be perfect, but I would like to see if we couldn't get all the dents out and get this straightened up pretty much better than it is. I mean, it's pretty bad, but overall fitment, you know, it ain't too bad, I guess. We'll get this thing pulled off here. We'll start massaging these dents out and start filling holes, and I think we'll check our fitment you know, here and there, and just keep trucking on this thing, man. Alright, so I've been hammering away on this hood for most of the morning. Most of the day, I should say. We got it pretty much straightened out. Got some Bondo on there. Some spots were more difficult than others to try to work out. While we wait for that Bondo to set up, I think we're going to jump on this roof here. Get the holes ground down so we can get them welded up. So we can get the inside of this wire wheeled out and cleaned up. And did some rust reformer on it. So we're working our way slowly. It's a slow process. I threw the door on just to see how we were doing fitment wise, and probably shouldn't have done that because what do you know, more dents. This thing is just roached, man. I don't even know how. Yeah, I don't even get it. It's just peeled back like a sardine can. Funny, it didn't look that bad when I was first looking at it. It isn't until you try to start to smooth this thing out that you realize, wow, this thing's in bad shape. Let's go ahead and jump on this roof before it gets too hot today and see if we can't get some of these holes welded up and maybe start sanding this thing down. I don't know. Figure it out. We got a hole here. This thing is pretty rough. I had to put, found a couple of these old pieces of tubing laying around. I stuck them up in there because without those in there, this thing is really, really floppy. It would seem to me there was some kind of a, you know, maybe something tucked up in there to hold the roof. The roof shape is curved, but these stanchions here are straight, so there would have had to been something inside of here maybe to hold that up. I don't know, but I put those in there for now just to keep it from flexing up and down. I'm sure the metal is really worn thin after all these years, but one step at a time. Let's get the holes welded up first. Alright, we got the roof sanded down and we got a coat of rust reformer on it, except for the spots that we're going to weld, of course. There's no way I could have sanded this thing down to bare metal. It's just so pitted in some areas that there would have been nothing left to it. Now you can see in this area all through here it's very pitted. So we would have been sanding right through the whole roof to try to get down to metal. There's still a little bit more work to do. It is very oil canny, but the whole thing is. If it were just a certain area, we could fix that with a little bit of heat and a body hammer, but the whole thing is very, very thin, I guess you want to say. We're going to do our best to try to weld these up without it getting too hot. I'm going to use this piece of brass to see if we can't fill them holes up. I really don't want to make little tiny plugs. So we'll see if this brass trick will work. If not, then we may have to cut out little circles and weld them in. So our brass plug was too big to fit up in that hole, so I flattened out a piece of copper pipe and I got it wedged up in that hole. It should work just fine. I think that worked pretty good. Oh, we just got 5 more to go. Okay, so we got our holes all welded up. We got them smoothed out with a little Bondo. Now I'm just going to go through and prime the whole thing. So we're going to come down here, get out the wire wheel the inside of this, and we're going to hit it with rust reformer. I'm not going to film that part of it because I think that's what happened in my last camera. Was it gets really dusty. I'm just going to go ahead and wire wheel that, make a big dust storm, and we'll let it clear out, and then we'll get it rust reformed. But first, let's get primer on the roof. Alright, the outside is done. Jump on the inside and get that taken care of, and we can keep moving on this thing, man. We got all that mess cleaned up. Got it all rust reformed. We do have a lot of repair work to do on these sills. One in that window is really bad. You can see it's pretty rotted. I arrested the rust that was there. We're gonna have to do something with it. Also got the hood somewhat mounted. Put the self-tappers in there. It's a little off. Fits pretty good on this side. A little tight actually, but not a bad fit. It's high here. And I believe this fender has to come up another 3/4 of an inch. I do believe we can adjust this fender skirt here. I believe we can adjust this up a little bit. For what we started with and what we have right now, it's not really too awful. What we're going to do from here is pop this door back off. The best way to do these quarter panels is to cut them off. I'm going to cut it off right where the trim was, and just pull the panels off. This panel here, I have no way of repeating these beads. They're pretty deep. I don't know if the bead roller will, the one that I have anyway, will roll that deep on there, because we definitely need to do something back there. And the replacement panel for this side is like $600+ with the shipping and everything. And I'm here to tell you fellas, that ain't in the budget. We're just going to keep plugging away on the body work, get this thing ready for paint, and see if we can't meet that tentative August finish date on this thing. I say finished, I'm not going to be totally finished. I mean, or it starts up and drives and can roll out of this garage. That's what I'm talking about. So we'll get back at it again tomorrow. Okay, so yesterday we went and patched our roof, welded up all the holes, hit it with a little bit of Bondo. We still have a few dents to work out. We got the inside cleaned up and rust reformed somewhat. What I want to do today to get started with, this panel here, other than being beat to crap, is pretty much complete. So I've got some of this contractor kind of like ram board. I want to make an impression of this panel to use as a guide when we start to cut metal out and replace it. At least we'll have a guide of exactly where it's supposed to go and where it's supposed to be, and I just think that that'll help us in the long run. So let's make an impression of this side to use as our guide. Alright, so what we're going to do is I'm going to tape it up on this body line right here, because I'm assuming that this line is going to be the same on this side as it is on that side. So it'll give us a much more accurate mark to go by. Alright, we got our paper on. All we're going to do is kind of rub on this, and you can see I just barely started rubbing on it, and we get the impression of how it goes. It's basically all we're looking for is an impression of this thing, so we can use it to as a pattern to match up both sides, make sure they're at least close. That's what the goal is. Alright, you can vaguely see the visual impression that it's leaving. At least this will give us a reference of what it's supposed to look like when it's done and where everything needs to be. So let's go ahead and trace it all out with a pencil. We'll cut it out and it'll be just like a big pattern basically. Alright, you got the pattern cut out, put up on there. It's not perfect, but it's a good guideline to show us what we need to do and where we need to do it. Before we go ahead and cut this thing off, let's get it cleaned up a little bit, see what it looks like, and just see how the metal is underneath. If it's as bad as the hood was, I don't know, I'm going to be in trouble. I guess that was all rust underneath there. See how it's got it raised? Look at this. Swiss cheese. This thing needs a new panel. But 2 new panels for this is going to put me at like 12 or 1300 bucks. I just ain't got it, fellas. We'll cut out as much metal as we can and patch it in. But really this thing is really bad. We're just going to take little segments at a time, pop out dents, fill dents, patch holes where we can. Went over it with the sander, got it smoothish, hit it with the rust reformer because This is all, I mean, you grind away to nothing if you keep going on this rust. Most of these dents that are here, I can reach from the inside to pound these out. We'll obviously have to replace pieces of metal here and here, and obviously, like I said, around the wheel well as well. The rest of this, we're just gonna massage it a little at a time, do the same process, grind it down, sand it down, rust reform it, you know, work out any dents that we need to work out, and then we'll just prime it when it's all done. So we got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it, man. I think I've got it pretty much straightened out to where it should be this way. I started marking out areas that we're going to cut out here, here, and start taking small pieces of this, cutting out, patching it in. That way we don't have to do the whole thing at once. It's probably going to be the easiest way for me to do it anyway. So let's start cutting out the bad metal and make some patches up. Alright, we'll just weld her in, grind her down, and move on to the next one. Okay, so we got a lot of the holes patched up. We got a lot of the dents filled in. What I want to do today is see if we can get some of this ugliness taken care of. The bottom part of this is still fairly solid. I went and rust reformed inside there, so we're just going to cut out the rusted part of this along the edge here, and we're just going to replace the metal on the face here. I'm not going to get too involved with the back of this because really it's not really worth it. This whole thing, this whole quarter panel really needs to be replaced, and though it's not in the budget right now, we can still make this one look halfway decent. We'll replace all the rotted metal here, and we'll go through and continue to pound out all the wavy spots and just do the best we can with it and get it coated out with mud, and then jump on the passenger side and do that monstrosity over there. Okay, so we rust reformed all the rust on the inside. I'm going to have to do this in two pieces because I just don't know how else to do this. We got all the metal work done on this side anyway. Got some tiger hair on it. I did have to cheat a little bit here because I had no way of replicating this panel in any way. So we used some of this fiber cloth here and some tiger hair, and we kind of attached the bottom of that a little bit. Eventually, you know, when the money builds back up, we'll go ahead and cut these panels out and buy new panels for them. But right now, we just want to get this thing back on the road, take it to a few car shows maybe, and maybe farther on down the road we'll go ahead and see if we can't locate some new front fenders, put some new back panels in. If this thing doesn't sell, I'll just keep it myself, and we'll go ahead and do all the necessary panel replacing then, after the coffers build back up, of course. Okay, so we got a skim of mud on there. She is not perfect, but it's a heck of a lot better than it was. She's now full of holes and dents and everything else. There's a few spots that should have got worked out a little better, I think, behind the rear tire. It's out a little bit too far, but there's a brace in there that's pushing out, and y'all think I'm joking with you when I told you they put this thing through a demolition derby. I believe they did. Banged up bad. And I really don't know what to do with this quarter panel here on the rear. I have no way of duplicating what's there. If worse comes to worse, we may have to bite the bullet on the one side. I bought a fuel tank that fits a CJ7, I believe it is, and I kind of test fitted it underneath there, and I think if it works out the way I think it will, we won't have to move the fuel door. We could leave it right there, which that'll be nice, because I was planning on moving it on the other side. But I'm kind of glad that things may work out where we don't have to do that. That would be perfect, save a lot of time. This week we did work on the hood. We got it pretty straightened out. Still got a few issues, and you can see the hinges are off. There's something wrong with the hinge on the passenger side, so it makes the hood sit, funny. Fitment wise, we still have work to do on this side. It's raised here, like we said before. We got to raise this fender up next time. Fits pretty good on this side, actually a little bit tight. We got the roof done, patched up. We got it rust reformed. So I think that's going to do it for this go around. Next week we're going to have to get this hood right. Whatever it's going to take to make this thing fit properly, whether we have to change the hood hinges or figure out a different way to hinge this thing somehow. We got to get the fender extension on the passenger side done. Maybe we can even start working on the doors, popping the dents out of them. There never seems to be a shortage of things to do. So, as always, man, I appreciate you guys watching. If you know anybody who'd be interested in this build, share the video with them. And until next time, man, take it easy.